How is everybody? How do we feel about Valentine's Day? Charles, Vandana, Dwayne, Scott. Like, I love Valentine's Day, and it's like the highlight of the month. Am I the only person on this call who feels that way?
I love chocolate.
Someone else just said they love Valentine's Day. Who is that?
Oh, Angeliki. I'm on the call as well.
Okay. You're not a presenter for some reason.
Oh, that's okay. You're sharing screen anyway.
There you go. Okay, that 2 votes for Valentine's Day then.
Yeah, I guess make that 3 votes for Valentine's Day.
Okay, good. Cindy, yep. Caroline, dark chocolate. Okay, I feel like we need a separate vote about dark chocolate versus milk chocolate.
And rom-coms. I do love watching rom-coms during Valentine's Day.
Do you?
Oh,
do you
yeah.
have
Christmas
specific
holiday
rom-coms?
movies and rom-coms. That's all it's about.
What's your favorite rom-com for the
Don't ask me that
Valentine's Day period?
Oh, no. Oh, the movie Valentine's Day was terrible. That was
Mhm.
definitely terrible.
They're kind of fun. They're the ones where they get like 1 million actors in them,
I
right?
know.
Yeah. And they've done like a few other ones as well. They're pretty crazy, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan is not a big fan of Valentine's Day. It's okay, Ryan. You can still attend the call.
It's a miracle that Lydia didn't
Sure.
ask us all to wear red today.
I know. Oh my God. I love Valentine's Day. Love Actually. I actually hate Love Actually. Love Actually is so sad. I can't watch it. There's too much tragedy in Love Actually for me.
I guess it's true.
Yeah, it makes me too sad. Oh my God, but I
That's a
love
good one.
Serendipity. That should be up
Mhm.
there with like all-time best time.
Mhm.
All-time best time? All-time best rom-coms. So good. I could talk about Valentine's Day for the next hour quite happily. Why don't we kick off? Are we recording? Okay, we are recording. Thanks everybody for joining. We're so happy that you're all here. Just some best practices to make sure this is a great call for everyone. The call's being recorded. We love the engagement. So please chat away in the chat. And this is your call today and future calls. So if there's something you want more of, if there's something you want less of, we welcome all feedback and all suggestions. We have 2 great topics today. One, Malin's going to be talking about customer insights. We haven't had any topics about customer insights so far, so excited to give an intro. I know some folks are experts, some folks know nothing about CI, right? And it's an often misunderstood app. So excited to get into the data portion of that. And then Paul is actually joining us from our Fast Track team. I think we might invite Fast Track to a few future sessions if there's interest to share, in this case, some information about the implementation portal. Couple of things to kick off. If you want to know where to engage with us, go to this Linktree link. I'll leave that on screen for a second. And then we have a second one if you want to know about upcoming events. Angeliki's going to talk about events in a second. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by Bulan's messages. And here's the URL for upcoming events, Microsoft and third party, community led. Before we dive into speakers, we want to talk a little bit about a project we're working on at the moment with the Dynamics 365 and Power Platform community site. So I'm going to hand over to Charles to give some information about that.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. So let's talk a little bit about what we have planned for the community site. We hinted at this a little bit, but 2025 is going to be a really big year for what we're doing with the community site. One of the things that we were planning to do was to make it more collaboratively focused. That is to say, right now, a lot of it will have things like your blogs, and it'll have some articles and obviously the forums. We wanted to make it a more interactive place to go, a place where all of you can connect, where you can bond with each other, where you can learn from each other, places where you can form various types of connections, and places obviously where you can continue to get answers, but also hear from us first. So to that end, we have a few specific plans. I'm going to show you what we have today. If you haven't seen the community site recently, But this is the community site as it stands today. We have the various forums that are here with the various links to your forums. We have the blogs, and links to the blogs, your user groups, your galleries, ideas, and resources. Okay, fine. The problem, though, is that a lot of things that we like to direct your attention to are all stuck here under resources. And so resources has become something of a catch-all for everything, not ideal. So what we started thinking about is, what can we do to this community site to make it a little friendlier and a little bit more intuitive? So the first step in what's going to be a much larger project is a revamp. So if you are part of the, let's see where we have it here. It's not the right place. Let's see the drop down for it. This is it, right? Okay. So one of the things that we were planning on doing was completely revamping the site. So we wanted to change around where things are and how we navigate to things a little bit. I'm going to go back to, can you reshare your screen?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Yeah, because we have that
Yeah.
a little bit more neatly organized.
Yeah. While that loads, I think to
Let me
add
know
to
when
what
it's
you're
done.
saying, like we've got big plans for revamping the site, starting with small things and getting bigger, right? And the
Mhm.
first thing is it's really hard to navigate, in our opinion, the site today. Because not just about our opinion, is it? We want everyone's opinions. So I think this is the slide that you're wanting for that, isn't it?
That's the one. Okay, great. So the way we're thinking about doing this instead is organizing it into these headers. Get your questions answered. And this would be a place where you can either get your product support, and you can either get your product support through the forums, where essentially you're all working together, or if you wanted to ultimately create a ticket through official product support, we'd have a place to navigate to that as well. Then we'd have community programs, we'd have community events, we have a place to learn Dynamics 365, and we're doing the same thing with the Power Platform, and then a place to get involved. So within community programs, this is where a lot of the community-oriented things are going to show up. Information like your community news, information about the community spotlight, where we will talk about each of you each month, places, different programs like Power Up and Fast Track, if you're familiar with those. Those are all community programs, and these are going to be places where we're going to have everything essentially centralized around the community. Then we're going to have community events, and this is where all of the various events that we are going to be hosting or that you're going to be hosting will wrap up. So online events, in-person events, programs like community days, anything that you think would be interesting. Because right now you look at it and there are only a couple of events there. And we know for a fact that there are a lot of events that aren't listed there. So we wanted to do a better job of making sure that there is one place to go for all of you to say, what do we have in my region? What do we have online? What do we have coming up? To make it easier for you to get the resources that you're looking for. We also have a section for learning. So this is going to be a centralized place where we can point to areas like learn.microsoft, certification site, various articles and blogs, different videos, and then links to the external community areas such as LinkedIn and YouTube. So a place where you can go to continue your journey for all things Dynamics. And then finally, a place where you can get involved a little bit more. So a place where you can submit product ideas, where you can provide feedback to the community. So if there are things that you don't like in a platform, again, this year is going to be a very big year for the platform. It's going to be a place for you to go so you can submit some of your ideas for it, as well as a place to do things like become a super user, how to become an MVP, how to join a user group. So a lot of instructions to help you get more deeply involved in things overall. So that's what we have planned. We already vetted this with the user group community, so we had an opportunity to get some thoughts from the user group leaders, but we also wanted to open the floor up to some of the people here as well for any open commentary overall. If there's something about it in particular that you absolutely hate, if there's something about it that resonates, some ideas you have to change things around, we want to use all of this and ultimately incorporate this into something that everyone is going to be happy with and proud of. So that's the idea. And so I'll pause for a couple of seconds, start getting some feedback. Maybe I'll read some comments on the chat. And then we'll talk a little bit about the broader initiative that we have that I'm very, very excited about.
Mhm. I think this looks great, Charles.
You're part of it.
I was involved in coming up with the decisions.
If you do say so yourself.
No. We really welcome feedback on what about it makes sense, what about it doesn't make sense, because we only want to implement changes that benefit the community. We're not looking to set the rules ourselves. So I wonder, should we drop a screenshot of this into the chat so folks can look at it and compare it to the site?
Yeah.
Just a second.
Cool.
Yeah. The only problem is a lot of these have the like subgroups you'd have to open.
Bulent's racing you.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Done.
I'm not sure what that
we were
dropped
talking
in,
about
but
the screenshot.
Oh,
of
I'm
the
sorry. I meant the one
PowerPoint.
that's actually on screen as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Got it.
Ooh, maybe I beat him.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a bit about the initiative while V
Yeah.
captures that?
I beat you.
Darn it. All right, so let's take a minute to talk a little bit about the broader initiative that we have. So the broader initiative is part of an overall reimagining of the community site. I think it's been great for the things that it's done the past couple of years, but part of what we wanted to do when we moved to a first-party platform was to take more ownership of it. And I know that the decision to move to our first-party platform was slightly controversial, but we did it for a very specific reason. When we have ownership of it, it gives us an opportunity to make it exactly what we want. So yes, improvements in navigation. Yes, the ability to simplify how you find things and look around, but also we have great plans to start weaving in agents. And so we have lots of ideas for agents for things. We've been thinking about things like concierge agents to make it easy for someone to come and say, hey, I'd like to get a speaker for this upcoming event that we have. Do you have anything for us? And so one of the things that we're planning to do is to start adding profiles. So a profile will be someplace where you can go to the community and say, this is my area of interest. This is my technology of interest. This is where I live. This is what I want to do. And now we can start implementing various types of Copilot-oriented features to do things like, hey, here is a certification that might be interesting for you. Here's an article that might be interesting for you. And I think one of the things that I like about this is a lot of you write blog articles, and which is something we really appreciate. I was looking at the numbers, and I think there are areas where we can really beef up the views. And one of the reasons why the views aren't as high as they should be is because a lot of times they're buried. So if you really want to maximize exposure, I'm thinking, ooh, how nice would it be if you are a Copilot Studio person, and now for everyone who has a Copilot Studio profile, we can have front and center something that says, here is the latest blog from Angeliki about Copilot Studio. And now we can help to increase visibility for the things that you're contributing. So we want to be able to make it a more dynamic experience overall. If you are a Copilot Studio person, here are the Copilot Studio events in your area. Here are the Copilot Studio experts in the area. Here is the latest feature for Copilot Studio. And now your whole experience is oriented around the things that are of greatest interest to you. All right, pause there. Reactions, thoughts to this? Not everyone at once. Okay, got an applause. All right.
Oh, we've got a hand raised. Go ahead.
Now we're talking. Malin?
Yes, so I I do a lot of stuff. So it's not just Dynamics and not just CI. It can be a lot of stuff. So I could be interested in 5 different Dynamics apps and then 4 of the Power Platform apps and then maybe something else. It's hard to know what to show me as a wide user. So I just don't want to. First of all, I don't want to get emails with too much information. And if I do get emails, then I want to get everything into one and not 5 different emails or 7 different emails.
Yeah.
So that's just my concern, that some people are interested in a lot of topics.
Yeah, exactly. So I was looking at this and I was thinking, what are some good examples that I might want to emulate? And sites like Reddit come to mind, where it's like, okay, I have these 3, 4 different topics, and then it sort of looks at it, and then there's a little algorithm that says, okay, based upon these topics, here are certain questions you might want to answer. Here's some information it might be for you. So it kind of mixes and matches based upon the areas you have. So I wanted to be careful, to your point, not to say, this is my one area, right? I'm an MVP in this and only MVP in this, but more of a checkbox oriented thing. Okay, I want sales, service, Copilot Studio, like whatever it might be, like sales, service, field service, and now I'm going to get things for that. That was the idea, to make it more holistic, I suppose. Does that answer your question?
We'll see.
You sound like
you should join the committee for.
Oh, you beat me to it. You beat me to it. Yes, you sound like a person who would want to join our committee. So we are. Yes, I'm forming a team.
Awesome. Count me
yes,
in.
I'm a forming team. So if you're a Marvel fan, Angeliki, you know what I'm referring to. So I'm. Yes. So if anyone's interested in joining the Community Avengers, put your name down, and I'm going to put together a team of stakeholders. You'll have access to the preview environment as we do things, so you can start experimenting with it. And you can tell us as we start putting these things together, like, does it work for you? Do you want to tweak the algorithm? Do you want to tweak how the agent works? Whatever it might be. But this is going to be something that's more of a marathon than a sprint. So we have things coming up every month. And if you join the super user call, you'll get more of a platform-oriented view of things, the things that we're planning for the platform. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for anyone who's interested to help shape what the next generation of this is going to look like.
What would be the best thing for folks to do if they want to join the committee? Send you an email?
Yeah, or yes, send me an email, charles.drayton@microsoft.com.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, why don't we continue on? We're very excited about that project, so we would love your input. We're going to talk a little bit about upcoming events folks might be interested in. V?
Yes, everybody get excited for the Power Platform Community Conference for 2025. I know it's in October, but we wanted to share this here because registration for the event is now open, and we have a buy one, get one full conference pass available through February 28th. So take advantage of that. And on top of that, we're also taking all the community call for content. So it's open now. If you're interested in presenting or nominating someone, there is a form right there. We can share that in the chat as well. So please, please, please go register. We would love to see you there. We're all very, very excited. I know all of the ones who attended last year had so many good things to say. So I hope you get to join us this time.
And Cindy wins greatest comment of the day as well. Okay, Angeliki, can I hand over to you?
Yes. So loads of great events coming up, both within February as well as in the lead up to March until our next call. So Global Power Platform Good is a great opportunity to connect with the community. And we're seeing this have multiple events as people organize in their own territory. So you can see the link here and you can join from your own country, or if you happen to be visiting another one. And we also wanted to add a link to the Linktree site so that you can see all sorts of other events as well. But ultimately, this is all things Power Platform, loads of different tracks, and I think you're going to have a great time with the content. And this is February 21st to 22nd. Next slide.
Awesome.
Thank you. Collabtis Bremen. Now I'm going to be a little bit selfish here because Bjorn and I are actually speaking at this event, and hopefully some others that are attending this call as well. So this is an event in Germany that is happening actually February 21st to 22nd, but no worries, no worries. So this is happening. No worries, Lydia. So this is happening in a couple of weeks in the weekend of the 21st to 23rd. And this is a series of events, collab days that you will find across the year. I know Finland, for example, just opened up their call for speakers, Poland as well. So you're going to see this event in many places, but Bremen is the one happening in a couple of weeks. Power Platform and Dynamics have a home there as well, but you also see other topics such as Microsoft 365 and Azure. Free Community Day event. If you happen to be there, I think it's going to be a great one. Next one. Thank you. So just to share some love with our friends in the US, we have a series of events that are coming up in February under the umbrella of Microsoft 365 Community Days. And they're happening across 3 different locations between the 3rd and 4th week of February. So we got DC, we got Knoxville in Tennessee, and we also got Phoenix. They are all part of the kind of like general umbrella of M365, but Power Platform also has a track, and of course, all things AI and Copilot. Another great series of events, if you happen to be local and want to visit, I think at least one of them also is hosting, the middle one has workshops as well. So if you happen to be around, I think you're gonna love this one too. Next slide.
Awesome. So that's all that we have for events.
Oh, perfect.
We have a badge we wanted to give to one of our community members today, which is you, Cindy. You have just been awesome. You've been so engaged recently and just so grateful for your enthusiasm, whether it's on social media, whether it's in this call. So we just love having you as a member of the community, and we wanted to call out how fantastic you are. So you will get this badge sent to you by Dwayne, so that you can put it on your social media if you want, but just wanted to say a big thank you for being such an active member of our team. Okay, before we jump into call, our speakers, I'm just going to do one poll. We just talked about how we're going to have a member of our fast track team talking, and this is, I think, the second time we've had someone from Microsoft presenting in the 6 months since we started, 7 months. So just would love to get some thoughts about, is that good? Do you want more of that, or are you loving the fact that we're really focused on community members? So would love to just get some answers to that poll, because we want to keep making sure we're tailoring the call to what folks want to hear. And with that, we're going to hand over to Malin, who's our first speaker, to present all about custom insights data. And before you start, I just want to say Malin also went completely above and beyond and sent me a message today saying, hey, ready for the call. And by the way, I've cleaned up your speaker template, so it's in a better format for future speakers. So thank you. Everyone who presents going forward after this will be benefiting from Malin's work. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Awesome. That's one of my pet peeves in the community is PowerPoint and not being set up correctly. So just pasting my slides, and I'm like, so it's better to just fix it.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. Thank you. I didn't even look at the master slide formats, which I think probably tells you all you needed to know about the template. So I'm very grateful.
I'm used to it. I see I can't share.
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't share. Okay, interesting.
Did we give rights?
I thought I'd given you rights, but let me try again. No, let me try one more time. Okay, perfect. You should be able to do it now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, there we go. So, getting started with customer insights data on speed for 20 minutes. This is something I can talk for, well, about 4 days on, because that's how long the certification used to be. So I can talk for a long time about this, but let's try and condense it into a short 20 minutes. So this is me. This is my QR code for LinkedIn. I've been in the community since, well, I started back in 2018, which all of a sudden is a long time ago. So I've been an MVP and an MCT, and I've been what's now called an MCT community lead for 2 years. So I do I talk for a living. That's kind of my thing. I started on the customer side, so I'm not a developer. I do not code. I will never code. I have never coded. I've passed the Power Platform Dev certification, so I can read code, but I don't actually code. But that doesn't stop me from being good at Dynamics. So I have a marketing background, and that is kind of why I steered into customer insights. Love customer insight journeys. I've done a lot of presentations, and I work a lot with customer insights journeys, which people understand. That is not the same for customer insights data. So love the community. I'm a big Liverpool fan. I laugh often, and you can, a lot of the times at events, you can follow the sound of my laugh and you will find me long before you see me. A bit of warning. I normally don't put almost any text on any of my slides. So warning, this is what you see if you go to the Microsoft sites and try to read about what customer insights data is. Customer insights data helps you personalize. There's a lot of words. There are long words. And for my sake, after I read this, I still have no idea what it is. I still don't know what it can do. And they have words like this: customer data platform, a CDP that helps you deliver personalized customer experience by unifying and analyzing. I have no idea. I understand all of the words, but it doesn't actually tell me anything. So that was a lot of words, and I did not expect any of you to read all of them at all. But how can you then try to understand? I took this text and I went to Copilot. And I said, okay, so take this text and explain it to me like I am 10. So how can I understand what customer insights data is? Helps you know your customers better. That tells me a bit more. It doesn't tell me a lot about how I can do it or any of that, but I get kind of an understanding of where do we want to go with this. Well, I want to understand my customers. Okay, but what's a CDP? What can I customer data platform? Don't we have like 50 of those already? So imagine you have this big box of Legos. I know a lot of community members love Legos. I do myself, so it's easy to explain with Legos. So this is your data. This is your company's data. Everything is mixed. They're all in your tenant. Well, if you're lucky, they're all in the same place. They're in different kind of apps. They're all over the place. And to start finding and start building your customers, it's a lot of work and it's messy. So a CDP, a customer data platform, is a way to organize all of this data. So put all the different data you have about the customers into boxes. And now you have a more visual and a simpler way of looking at your data. So, for example, what kind of websites where on your website do they go? Have they visited stores? Have they downloaded apps? Have they read emails? Any of the information you have on your customer already. So with this information proper stored and proper aligned with everyone and organized correctly, then it's easier for companies to understand their customers, because all of this data are things you have already. So, I mean, how much data does every company have about their employees or their customers? A ton. Is it structured? Maybe some of it. Definitely not all of it. So is it finally true? We've been hearing this from Microsoft for years. So this is CRM is your 360-degree view of your customer. Well, it wasn't completely true, but have we gotten here? Is this the system that can finally give us this view of our customer? Well, we're consultants, so it depends. Depends on where your data is, how much data you have, and how much work you do trying to organize all of this data. So what we're trying to do, we're back to the Legos. We're trying to take all this data and then sort it. And then once we've sorted it, then we want to arrange it. And once we've arranged it, then we want to present it visually so we understand what we have. But after we've done all of this work, we want to take all of that data, all of these building blocks we have of our customer, and then we want to explain our information about our customer. Then we can start building this house, and then we can start building that story that is our customers. And that is when we start building our digital twin. So this is in the data world, in the CDP world, there are a lot of customer data platforms out there. Some are super expensive and tricky to understand and get access to. But I think Microsoft makes it a lot easier and a lot more understandable. And of course, the fact that it's tightly connected to the customer insight journeys just makes it even easier. So the thought behind the digital twin is that we're building a replica of our customers. The more information and the more building blocks we have, the easier it is to see the customer and to understand the full picture of the customer. If we're missing a hand in our picture of the customer, where do we store this data? Do we have this data? Is there somewhere in our information sphere that we can get hold of this data and that we can make this digital twin even better? So that is the idea behind customer insights data. It is making your data more structured and building this digital twin for our customers so that we have a better picture, and then we can use this information. So the more I know about my customers, the better and smarter I can do my marketing to them. So I want to sell you something. I don't want to sell you something you already have. I definitely don't want to do. I bought tickets for the theater today. So I first got an email saying, hey, we have this show, kids theater, and here, get a discount. I'm like, perfect. They know I have a kid. They send this information. Perfect. So I buy the tickets after, I think, 10 minutes after the email came. Got my confirmation. 2 hours later, I got a new email saying, hey, there are still available tickets for this theater. Like, why are you wasting this email? It just makes you look stupid. Don't send me invites to things that I already have bought information or bought tickets for. So it is all about using the data you already have and market better. So your turn. Where do you start? How do you start? How complex is it? How complex can you make it? Again, it depends. We're consultants, but this truly depends. Start in trials.dynamics.com, and right now you have 2 customer insights try now buttons. One is for marketing and one is for the customer data platform. I recommend starting both trials and seeing how they can work together. But if you do start a trial, you get, oh, this was bright. You do get a new environment and that you have for 30 days. So you can test out all of this. So you have customer insights data. What you can do is you can either create your own environment, or if you don't want to do all the work and you just want to see how it works with data, because putting all this data into the system takes a lot of time. So what Microsoft has done, they have built a demo system. And in this demo system, they have industries. So of course, default that's the easy one to pick for everyone. But if you have any customers in any of these industries, then there is a fully working demo that you can show to your customers about customer insights data, which really helps because putting the data in takes a lot of time. A lot of time. And having this, you can't do a lot with, so you can't add your own flair to it. But for a starting demo for a customer, it helps tremendously. But if you want to start with your own environment and you want to start putting in information, then the first place you start is by adding data sources. Now, this does not have to be a Microsoft data source. So you can go elsewhere. You can connect this to any data source. Any, not. Depends on how much you want to pay, but any, if you pay a lot and you want to develop things yourself. But here you can connect to all your data sources. And right now, the release notes are out, so we know there are a lot more data sources coming. Fabric, all of it, of course, Dataverse, but you can also use the Power Query or any of the Azure Data Lakes and Delta Lakes and Synapse and all of this. So if you have done some work, for example, with Power BI, and you have created this Azure Delta Lake, Data Lake Delta, it's a hard word, and you want to just connect to that because you have all the other data sources going into that, then that will make it a lot easier. Or use Power Query. In Power Query, you have a lot of different sources. So you can have your Excel spreadsheet. Excel is still the most used CRM system. Or any other. You can also have APIs, or you can drag a file. I do have a file of about 100,000 customers that comes from a demo system. So I tend to upload this just because it's easy. I connect to it. I then do the work with the data. What do I want in? This takes time. Like I have a workshop with a customer tomorrow about customer insights data. We're going to go through all of this. So what are the different columns you need? Because you need to do this work no matter which data source you have. So which columns do you want to add in? What type of data do you want? What type of data is it? Is it numbers? So crunching the data and working with the data is a lot of work. So getting all the different data sources into the system. And remember, this is a very Norwegian phrase, TTT, things take time. Have patience, because after you've clicked import, depending on the amount of data, it might take a long time for the data to come into the system. So don't schedule a full workday with your customer expecting to be done in a day and expecting to have gone through all of this. It takes time. So now when you have all the data into the system, now you have to do all the mapping so that you make sure that your name, is it first name, last name, or is it full name? depending on the data sources, it might look differently. So you have to map all of this together. Is the email address, is the phone number, how is it stored? How do all the different data sources map together so that your customer is one person, no matter how many different systems they come from? Deduplication, we all have super good control over all our duplicates, right? So not a lot of work to do there. Matching rules, how do we match people? And the unified data view, we can enrich the information. We can create segments based on the information we have. We can get insights on this segments. We can use these segments in customer insight journeys and do marketing for these people. Measurements such as churn score and other types of information. I'm rushing through because time. Get some predictions based on the information and the data you have in the system. And now you have built this 360-degree view of your customer that we've always wanted. So how, no matter where the information of the customer comes from, you get this full view of the customer in Customer Insights data. And that means some of this is from the demo data. So here you have the banking demo, and here you have the government demo. So you can see that it's a bit different. But again, there's so much to gain. Every single customer I work with, they start talking about, we want to be data-driven. Okay, how? We want to be data-driven. Okay, but where do you start? How do you do that? How can you be data-driven? And this is one of the biggest factors I see for customers to become data-driven and to use the information that they have. So there aren't a lot of blogs and a lot of information. I do have some. I have blogged some. Pauline has blogged some. Please, if you have any other people who do some blogging on especially Customer Insights data, then please share them with me because I'm always looking for more. Microsoft has some good pages on this, on Learn, the getting started, and the recommendations and everything. There's also some good videos. I can post all of this in the chat. I don't know if we have any time for questions.
Maybe 1 minute. Does anyone have a burning question? If not, I'm hoping you'd also take questions via like either in the chat or on your own LinkedIn afterwards as well. Would be awesome.
Yes, I do.
Why don't we? Oh, Dan. I don't know if Dan was trying to clap, but I accidentally raised their hand. That often happens on these calls.
As Pauline says, or join our workshop at Color Cloud in Hamburg. So we have a we have a 1-day workshop for the Customer Insight General side of the new certification, the MB280.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thank
you for a great presentation. That was so good. I know a bit about Customer Insights, but I definitely learned something there. I also learned that you're an LFC fan, and I was raised with that being absolutely the only choice in life. So I'm glad to see that we're on the same team.
That is correct. My son is the exact same way, so no choice.
No. Awesome. Oh, Cindy getting in some trash talking here. If you support Manchester, Cindy, I'm taking that badge straight back. Or Newcastle, that's fine. Okay. Let's hand over to Paul. Paul is joining us from the Fast Track team. Paul, you should have presenter rights, and folks are very excited to hear from you. When it was mentioned that a member of the Fast Track team was joining, it was excitement all round. So with that, fire away.
Thank you. My screen share and my voice coming through okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. Guys, just an early one. My internet seems to have a little wobble in it, and I sometimes lose the connection for 20 seconds. I will be back if that happens, right? So But that aside, I love to be here. I've already browsed through the list of people on the call, and there are many faces where we've connected before, so nice connecting with some of you again. For those of you who perhaps don't know me, I'll start by saying my background is not virtual. That's my actual background. I'm a performing magician. And so what you have behind there is a bunch of my magic props and drawers full of card tricks and what have you. So when we meet in person, I'm almost up for some cheap entertainment, right? But for my real day job, I manage the partner-led team in Fast Track. So I'm going to give you a little sense of what the Fast Track program is and what we do. And some of you are playing with us already. We, of course, will continue our collaboration and we value your partnership. But for a few of you, there may be more ideas of how you could collaborate with Fast Track. Now, the easiest way to do a tour of Fast Track in 5 minutes, right, is to tell you a bit of my personal history. I was architect number 13 in the Fast Track team back in 2015. So what did we do for a life back then? We were fighting the escalations and the fires that happen just before go live and after go live in the channel, right? As you can imagine, this job was not great for work-life balance because the customer is in red, the partner team is stressed, and half the people are blaming us, which means we need to do fixes. It's all under pressure, right? And I think we were a pretty smart team, and we managed to resolve most of those issues and help our customers and partners have successful go-lives. But the interesting thing is when we looked at the problems that we were solving, most of them turned out to be rather avoidable. And easily avoidable, actually, right? So I'll give you a good example. Most of our escalations that we hear of as Fast Track relate to performance of the product, right? And then when we dig a little bit deeper, the story kind of goes like this. The partner built a small customization, but inside a high volume batch process, right? They performance tested for 30,000 records, and then the customer brings 1 million records on day one. I probably lost a hair for every time I heard a variant of that story, right? So we figured, instead of just doing the firefights, can we not engage earlier in the project life cycle so that we bring some proactive guidance? We talk about the performance topic earlier on in the project and see if we then don't have a smoother go live at the end. And this turned out to work really well, and that's what Fast Track became. We branded our best practices as success by design. We cover many aspects of a project, and we brought that guidance to the left, and we started engaging earlier on in the life cycle. Now, there were two observations. Some partners jokingly referred to the reviews and the questions that Fast Track was asking as the Fast Track tax being brought to their projects, right? And we thought, well, is this really a tax? So what we did is we analyzed all the projects that had this active success by design engagement. And then we took all the projects that didn't have that. And we had thousands in each bucket. So we could do sort of classic A/B testing and go, what is the average duration of these projects? And what does the customer churn look like? And we discovered that if we do the Fast Track tax, we actually deliver the project in less time on average than what we do if we don't. Now, it might be that on the original budget, you didn't put performance testing into your plan, right? And so in that case, you'd probably have a rolling delay if a performance issue happens at the end of your project. If we do the work up front, maybe you need a slightly bigger budget, but you actually get to market more predictably. We see it in customer churn because the customer doesn't get all that stress, and that became the Fast Track program. And initially, we would deliver this to what I call the top of the pyramid, the really large and complex projects that are out there. And we use money as a bad proxy for size and complexity, right? So we say a project today that has $400,000 license revenue is likely to be in that big and complex bucket, right? That is what's called the eligibility for Microsoft-led Fast Track. And Microsoft-led Fast Track is a direct engagement. If you nominate your project, we would then allocate an architect that will work with your architect as a partner and with the customer's technical lead to drive the best practices on the project. I believe that's the best Fast Track you can get. And you'll probably see that if I give you the second class of Fast Track that you can get, which is what we refer to as self-service. So self-service means Fast Track said no to your project. They're not giving you an architect on your project, and you're kind of on your own. Now, we don't leave you entirely on your own. We have an implementation portal. We put a lot of guidance out there. We'll talk a little bit more, but you're largely on your own. You don't have somebody in Fast Track that you can regularly talk to. My team then inherited the part of the pyramid below this. So what if Microsoft, let's say, says no to you, but your project is still pretty substantial? And initially, we tried to do exactly the same. We tried to allocate an architect to the project, but my poor team, instead of having 9 to 10 projects that they need to support simultaneously, because there's so many more projects in this part of the pyramid, they had 25 to 35 projects, and it didn't turn out well. You know, we were too far away from your projects to really make an impact. And then we changed the game to what we now call a portfolio model. We have Fast Track portfolio partners that work closely with us. These partners establish a center of excellence that really provide the first line of architectural guidance and product guidance to the projects in their portfolio. And then if they can't deal with the topic, they raise the topic to my team. And so it becomes an indirect model, you know, where we can actually scale and reach a lot of projects because we scale through the center of excellence that our portfolio partners establish. And in that way, we can support many projects in the market. So I think today a Fast Track having really Microsoft-led direct engagement, partner-led indirect engagement. These are two ways in which you can play. Normally, if your project's above 400, you'll get Microsoft-led support, except perhaps, you know, if it is a $600,000 project, and it's pretty simple, so it's large, but it's not complex, we'll kind of go, you've got it. We don't think we need to put an architect on that, right? But if you're a portfolio partner, we actually dropped the 4 limit now, and we will support all of the projects that you have in your portfolio. We'll have your back on that. So a Fast Track portfolio partner for us is somebody that's established a regional dynamic center of excellence. I don't have the scale to have a relationship with every partner's subsidiary in every country, right? So what we're trying to do is bump this up into a regional cover. And if there's a center of excellence in EMEA that covers all EMEA projects, one in Americas that covers all EMEA, that becomes for us the regular and single contact point with Fast Track for overseeing all of the projects that do not have Microsoft-led Fast Track. I'm not going to drain the next 2 slides. We'll share the deck with you, but here are really the benefits that you get from the program. I think we've hinted at a lot of them, so I'm not going to read all of them out. We also have a set of requirements to you becoming a portfolio partner. Now, let me also say this. We're keen to establish partner relationships, so I don't enforce all these bullets in a hard way. You know, you might go, I only have 3 solution architects. Does that mean I can't play with you? I'll play with you. I'll just reserve my right to disengage if in the next year you don't work on taking that number up to 5, right? And why do we ask for 5 solution architects that are certified? We're not a training organization. We deal with deep architectural topics, and we're looking for deep architects on your side that we can have a relationship with, right? So we don't want to be in that training business. How is this program evolving? So we've always been pushing success by design. We've always been pushing proactive implementation guidance to the teams. We've always given some escalation support, and we're now moving into some pre-sales guidance. We've classically not done any pre-sales, but for large complex pre-sales engagements, you can now nominate your project for Microsoft-led to support you. And if they don't, your center of excellence should really support it, but they can bring point topics to Fast Track. And so I don't need to understand your whole pre-sales game, but you bring point topics that you need help with, happy to work with that. We also calculate a Fast Track partner score so we can start evaluating how well partners are working with Fast Track, how well they are adopting best practices. And this also becomes a marketing benefit because we recognize on the web also those partners that really play well with Fast Track, formerly as Fast Track portfolio partners on the web, right? If you want to become a Fast Track portfolio partner, you can ping me directly and we'll work the process. There's also an email alias that you can email, and I would typically reach back and we schedule an intro call and see how we can onboard you. We support about 95 partners in the portfolio model at this point worldwide. I'd like to take that number to 120 by June. So if you're not in the game and you have a couple of active projects out there and you can benefit from Fast Track, then by all means contact me. I'm also not going to read the quote from Jeroen in the interest of time, because I do want to sneak some comments in on the implementation portal in the remaining minutes. So the Dynamics 365 implementation portal is the go-to place both for portfolio partners and for partners in self-service. In other words, you do not have a relationship with Fast Track, but it's still a place where you can onboard a project, where you can get guidance. And if we look at the functionality that's available, so what's in blue is available and has been available for some time, and I'll talk about each box. What's in the dark orange is in preview mode, so there's already value to be had, and it will move into general availability this year. And then we are working on the light orange boxes, and so let me give you a little view of what we have and what's coming down the line. So firstly, as a partner or a customer, you can join projects that have been created already, or you can onboard a new project so that the project is on the portal. You can, of course, register on the portal with your work credentials. That's how you get onto the portal. We then want you to profile your project. Now, what is profiling? It's about a 10-minute exercise per project where you go, I'm implementing these products, I'm implementing these features, my project has these characteristics. Why do we want you to do that? It's for us to have better insight into what your project is about. If you're telling me I'm implementing customer service or core finance, you're not really telling me anything, right? So I'm just blank. I have no idea of the challenges that you might be facing. But if you go, I'm doing core finance, but I've got 35 legal entities spread over 20 countries with different tax localization rules, then I'm starting to get a sense of your complexity. If you go, I'm doing a contact center with omnichannel, with first-party voice with 1,000 users, then I get a sense of your complexity. So that's what we're driving, because then we can ship the right guidance to your implementation team, which is the next box. Based on the profile, we push out guidance. Now think of the guidance, probably not worth a lot if you're an old hand experienced architect and you know where to find everything on learn.microsoft.com, right? But think of your junior and mid-range architects, your technical consultants on your project that don't have that depth of experience. So instead of them having to go fish in learn.microsoft.com, which is a really huge space to go fish in, we will take the project profile and go, oh, if this is what you want to implement, here's the reading you need to do. And we give you a straight click through to the relevant articles, kind of in priority sequence, so you can educate yourself. So that's the value you take back from the portal. Even if you're in a self-service, you're not talking to Fast Track, you can use that. But even when you work with Fast Track, this is still useful information. We have the ability to run reviews on the project. So for example, before you go live, you run a go live review, which asks a whole bunch of questions that help you identify if you have any remaining risks that will make your go live stressful, more stressful than it needs to be. So if you do that a couple of weeks before live, you're de-risking your project, right? We similarly have reviews that you can do at the start of the project that goes, are you going well into this project? Are there areas that you do not have covered? We then publish telemetry insights. So we run telemetry against your environment. So see if we pick up any signals that maybe your teams want to care about. Where we doing our early preview, we have an implementation co-pilot. So you can ask questions about implementation, get very focused guidance directly from there. We've just added business processes to profiling, so you can do a richer profile and name the business processes that you're bringing live. And we're bringing a whole new set of guidance that are business process centric. Some of you may already have been exposed to that discussion. For our portfolio partners, we're bringing topic collaboration to the portal. Today, we work in a shared Excel spreadsheet, which is not the most modern of approaches to make it work. So we're bringing that to the portal. We're bringing a new entity to the portal. In the past, we've only done projects, so not managed services, not your go live customers. So now we will allow you to reflect all your projects that have already gone live, bring guidance to those, telemetry insights to that. And when we say telemetry insights at scale, we want to make sure that all of your customers, if you register them on the portal, you can actually go and get telemetry insights, catch problems before your customer runs into that. So that's right on the clock. That's where I want to stop. I do have time to answer one or two questions, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. I'm going to fire a couple of questions at you, Paul, that came from the chat. So I'm not sure if you'll know the answer to this one. Is the fast track engagement criteria the same for F&O as it is for customer engagement?
Yeah. Same.
Perfect. Does Fast Tracks offer support for tenant-to-tenant CE migrations? Dynamics CE.
Cindy is asking for a friend. Cindy, yes, indeed,
Yeah.
we do that. If you're in a relationship with Fast Track, it's not ad hoc that any project can just come in and ask Fast Track to help with that, right? But if you are in a relationship with Fast Track, either on a Microsoft-led Fast Track engagement or as a partner organization, you're in partner-led Fast Track as a portfolio partner, we'd certainly help with that. You raise it as a topic.
Cool. And then is the portal only available for portfolio partners?
No, it's available to everybody, customers inclusive.
Fantastic. And then if you just see that most recent comment, there's just some feedback on mixing of credential and exam numbers. Maybe you could share that feedback with Dana.
There may have been a change in the full certification thing. Thanks, Miriam, for sharing that. I would say the exams is probably the less accurate part of that. It's whatever constitutes a certified architect in either F&O or CE. And we'll take that feedback and go back to the documentation. Thank you. This portal...
Cool. Maybe if we could just take these last few.
Yeah. The portal link I'm going to put in the chat quickly. It's experience.dynamics.com, and you register using your work credentials, and then you can join and onboard projects on the back of that. Hey guys, been wonderful talking to you. I need to opt for another call as well. I wish you all well. Cheers.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks. And thanks everybody for attending.